Okay, so I know that many of you are already familiar with Southwestern Law School, but we are a private independent school located in central Los Angeles. We were founded back in 1911, so we've been around for a really long time. We've been producing great lawyers since the early 1900s. We've produced a number of really successful alumni who work in all areas of the legal industry, everything from the judiciary to the private sector and law firms, corporations. We have a number of prominent government attorneys as well as people who are in politics. So you name it, we've got alumni who are working in that area. As an independent law school, we focus exclusively on producing lawyers. When I say independent, that means that we're not part of a larger university. I've included this slide here, which includes our mission as well as our core values, because I think it's really important to highlight for you what really runs through the DNA of the school. Everyone from the faculty members to the administrators, the staff, and the students really take these core values very seriously. And I think that they very accurately describe the things that are important to us here at Southwestern. In the mission statement, I've highlighted for you just a few words that I think really summarize what is important to us. And they include excellence, empowerment, inclusion, belonging, equity, justice, and innovation. Now, no matter where you go to law school, it's really important that you have a strong leadership. And we are very, very fortunate to have Dean Darby Dickerson as the dean and president of our law school. She's a very experienced law school dean. She's worked at 4 other law schools prior to working at Southwestern, and she is one of the main champions of the Online J.D. program. She was rated by National Jurist last year as one of the 10 most influential people in legal education. And I have to tell you, that is not the first time that she was named to that list. She served in leadership positions of a number of prominent legal associations, including the Association of American Law Schools, serving as a delegate to the American Bar Association's House of Representatives, and working as the past president and current board member of Scribes, the American Society of Legal Writers. She's also the president of a couple of Inn of Courts, one being the Southwestern Law School Inn of Court, but another being a completely virtual Inn of Court that she founded with our online students in mind. Prior to coming to the academy, she worked in a large law firm as a commercial litigation attorney and as a judicial clerk in the Sixth Circuit. So we have a number of paths to the JD at Southwestern. We've long thought of ways to make law school more accessible to people who are qualified and interested in studying law. We have a traditional 3-year program, which is in person, as well as an accelerated 2-year program, which is in person. We also have a part-time day program that's in person. We started with our evening program way back when we were founded in 1911, because again, we've always had accessibility as one of the things that we found to be very important in legal education. The program was kind of turned into a hybrid program in 2019, meaning that there were offerings that were both online and in person. And then last year we launched our fully online JD. And as you see, it's really kind of the next natural evolution of the evening program. So the Online J.D. program is the newest program at Southwestern, and we're really proud of it. It makes the American Bar Association approved legal education accessible to people who either need or want scheduling flexibility due to other commitments in their life, who need the ability to attend law school from home, either because they don't have an ABA-accredited law school near them, or maybe the commute is simply too far. Maybe they have obligations that prevent them from driving back and forth to a law school. There may be some people who've always wanted to attend Southwestern, but haven't been able or willing to pick up and move to Los Angeles. Now you don't have to. And then as we're talking about a little while ago, there are some people who just prefer online education. People have been doing online education now for a few years, and for some people, it's a really great way for them to learn. So the program is great for people who fall into any of those categories and even more. Our first class started last August in 2020. last August of 2024. And we've got a great group of students who've joined us. About 60% of them were in our part-time program, and about 40% of them were in our full-time program, which I'll talk to you more about in a moment. Our students come from all over the country. We have students as far west as Hawaii and far east as Connecticut and South Carolina. Some students come straight from undergrad, but we find that most of our students are really students who have been out and worked for a few years. Many of them are looking at law as their second and third careers. We do have a full and a part-time option, and we're very proud of the full-time option. We're the first school to be able to offer, or to be approved by the ABA, I should say, to offer a full-time program that is fully online. One thing that distinguishes us from some other programs is that we do not have an in-person requirement. So you don't have to come to the law school once a semester, once a month, any weekend. You don't even have to come to pick up your diploma, though we certainly invite you to attend graduation. That being said, you are certainly welcome to come to campus if you would like to use the resources, if you want to attend any programs, if you want to come to the library. And also, the school has really invested a significant amount of care into developing this program. So the classes are very well designed, high quality, and high touch. Our faculty members have been working hand in hand with professional instructional designers with years and years of experience in developing online classes to turn each class into a great representation of a Southwest course in an online format. Southwestern, I'm sorry, course in an online format. So our classes are mostly asynchronous. So that means that they're organized in a weekly format. They're delivered via the Canvas learning management system, and the modules currently run from Tuesday of one week through the Monday of the following week. So during the week, students have to watch video lectures, they'll have reading assignments, there will be certain learning activities to complete to reinforce what they learned in the lecture and in their readings. There are discussion groups among smaller groups of students, about 15 to 20. Sometimes there are group assignments. Many times there are written reflections or papers. And additionally, there are quizzes, midterms, and finals. So with the program being asynchronous, students are not required to attend class at a certain time. Say, for instance, Wednesday at 6 p.m. That's one of the hallmarks of our program, is that you don't have to do that. However, if you would like to do that, we do have some optional synchronous courses that are available via Zoom for students who are interested in interacting with their professors and with their classmates. Additionally, students have the opportunity to interact with their professors and TAs during office hours, which are offered via Zoom. And there are some experiential classes that have required Zoom courses. So for instance, in just a couple of weeks, our students are going to be participating in competitions in both their negotiations class and their appellate advocacy class as a part of their legal research and writing course, which we call laws. So the faculty who are teaching in the program are a really, really great group of faculty. They are professors that the students at Southwestern have long adored and really learned a lot from. Some of our best professors, and we're so glad that they have volunteered to teach in this program. Our faculty members, some of them have been at the school for more than 10 years. And again, they've partnered with instructional designers to help to develop the best classes for our program. I'm sure that you all are very curious about what online class might look like. So I'm going to just show you a little bit of the class. Okay, so as I mentioned before, our classes are offered through Canvas. So as you see here, the classes are very clean. They're very well organized, very easy to see. These buttons here at the top are kind of static across all of the courses, and they link to various resources that will be helpful to you as a student. The module list over here actually has a gold bar to let you know which week you're in. We hope that you don't, have trouble, figuring out where exactly you should be. But at any given time, you can come here to the one that is highlighted to know which week that you're in for the specific class. I'm going to click here to the Introduction to Criminal Law. And again, this is a demo course, but criminal law is a class that our students take during their first semester. You'll see here that the class is laid out to very nicely introduce the student to the module, and in this particular case, introduces the student to the criminal law course overall. Additionally, there are objectives here, so students are able to read these objectives and kind of assess by the time they complete the module. If you don't know what the professor says that you should know here in the objectives, that's just an indication that maybe you need to dig in and study the material in a different way, or perhaps attend office hours or reach out to one of your teaching assistants. The readings are listed here, so it's very clear and easy for students to see what they should be doing. And then there's this nice watch and do section. So what we can see very easily just from this overview page is that during week 1, which is Introduction to Criminal Law, students are going to learn about the history and evolution of criminal law, as well as the purposes of punishment in the 8th Amendment. And they will be watching a lecture. They'll be watching actually a couple of lectures, participating in an activity, taking a quiz, participating in a discussion post, and then there is a wrap-up. I am just going to show you just a minute of one of the videos so that you have an opportunity to see just a little bit of what one of the videos looks like.
Welcome back to Criminal Law. Today we're going to be talking about the important role that juries play. If any of you have ever served on jury duty, you know that juries play a crucial role in determining the outcome of any case that goes to trial. Juries are responsible for determining whether someone accused of a crime is guilty or not guilty. As we've discussed, a key difference between the criminal and civil systems is that in criminal cases, the jury must reach a unanimous verdict, with some very limited exceptions. That means that if 11 jurors vote guilty and only 1 votes not guilty, the accused is not convicted of a crime. Now, the prosecution may have the opportunity to try the case again. This wouldn't be considered double jeopardy because the fact that the jurors were not unanimous in their decision results in a mistrial. So the prosecution could possibly get another chance to try the case.
So again, that's just a short demonstration of one of our videos. Using that nice bar at the bottom, we can then move to the next activity, which is a practice activity. This is an activity that students would work with after having listened to the lecture and conducting the reading and learning about specific versus general intent crimes. It's nice because I kind of liken it to electronic flashcards. So the student will come here, they'll see, that the question is asking about arson, and they are asked to determine, is arson a specific versus general intent crime? They'd apply what they've learned and turn it to test their knowledge and see that it's a general intent crime. Similarly, the student will move through the slides. This one is embezzlement. So think about if embezzlement is a specific versus a general intent crime, and then hopefully confirm their knowledge that it is specific intent crime. Additionally, I'm just going to show you quickly what a discussion forum might look like. So again, students are kind of broken up into groups of 15 to 20 students for these discussion groups. And as you see here, students will be asked about various concepts that they learned for the week, and students will be able to kind of share their thoughts about the things they've learned and how it applies to the professor's prompt. And then their classmates will respond to their posts. So, as I mentioned, we are the first school to be approved by the ABA for a full-time online program. Our full-time program can be completed in 3 years, just like our in-person program. Students take approximately 15 credits per semester, and the estimated time requirement for that is about 45 to 50 hours per week. It's important for applicants or prospective students to understand that the full-time program is designed for students who can commit most of their time to studying law. If you are a person who has, other commitments, like you work or you're a caregiver, you may want to consider the part-time program. For the full-time program, the students take 6 classes per semester. This includes doctrinal courses like contracts, constitutional law, criminal law, property, and torts. You'll see that you also have the opportunity to take an elective during the first year, which is a really nice option. Students will also take Foundations, which is our course, which is designed to help students to analyze legal material and kind of understand the concepts that they are supposed to learn in a way that enables them to be successful on their exams, as well as Laws 1 and 2, which is legal writing and research. Our part-time program can be completed in 4 years, and that is assuming that the student is taking classes over the summer. The students will take about 10 credits per semester, which is a time commitment of about 30 to 35 hours per week. So this is, again, the program that's designed for people who have other responsibilities outside of law school. But still, as you see, 30 to 35 hours per week is a significant time commitment. So it is important for students who are enrolling in this program to really think about how they will integrate study time into their lives. For part-time students, they will take 2 less classes during the first year than full-time students. This is just a list of some of the other classes that are required here at Southwestern. Students will also have the opportunity to take many electives, and there are a total of 87 credits that are needed to graduate. We offer 4 concentrations through the online program. They include civil litigation and advocacy, entertainment and media law, public interest law, and technology law and entrepreneurship. It's important for students to know, however, that you don't have to concentrate in anything in law school. It's not like undergrad where you have to take a major. However, if you would like advanced coursework in a particular area, or if you would like for your resume to reflect that you take an advanced coursework in a particular area, concentrations provide the opportunity to do that. Now, Southwestern is very well known for our strong experiential learning program and for the practical skills that our graduates have. And we fully intend that our online students will be just as prepared to practice. So we are offering the community lawyering clinic through the online program. And students are also able to take externships. Now, both of these are courses. So there's a classroom component to both. In a clinic, students have the opportunity to work on real matters with real clients under the supervision of a professor. And in externships, students have the opportunity to work on real matters under the supervision of a legal professional. For externships, students can do those locally. So like, for instance, if you wanted to work with a judge in your area or with a public interest organization, or, in some cases, even a law firm or corporation, you can do that as long as the co-directors of the externship program approve the placement. Students can also be paid for these opportunities, which is something that distinguishes our externships from externships at some other law schools. So I've included this slide here of your friendly online education team. You've already had the opportunity to meet Director Goldberg, and I've talked a little bit about my work as well, but just so that you all know, in addition to kind of helping students such as yourselves through the admissions process, I also partner with the Career Services Office and the Externship Office to help our students to reach their career goals and to strategize their job searches. Director Goldberg, she really is a wonderful resource for students. She serves as a go-to resource for our students and helps to advise them on any number of issues that arise. And Dean Rodriguez, she is the Vice Dean. She's a Vice Dean here at the law school, but she is also kind of leading the online team in providing our program. So I know, law school is challenging, and we've done our best to provide lots of support for our online students, and I think we've done a great job at it. We do offer both peer mentors and Dean's Fellows for our students. These are upper division students who help our 1Ls with kind of becoming acclimated to law school. The peer mentors help with both personal and professional development. And the Dean's Fellows are upper division students who have performed really, really well. And so they help students to learn kind of like best practice study methods, as well as skill development. I mentioned, that our faculty are regularly available by office hours, and you can also email your professors if you have questions. We have a really fantastic remote law librarian who works with our students for research needs, Professor Lewis Rosen. And additionally, we have a really wonderful student affairs office that offers, that students can talk to about accommodations or if there are wellness concerns, and they also offer great wellness programs. So we've talked about a lot of the heavy stuff, but one thing that we also really wanted to make sure that we have available for our students is a really strong online community. And it starts from before they even start at the school. We have a social corner where admitted students are able to create a video and introduce themselves to their peers. The peer mentors that I described in the prior slide meet with groups of students. So students have the opportunity to meet one another as well as their peer mentors in the summer before they start. And they kind of continue with that throughout their time here in their first year. We have the virtual and of court that I mentioned earlier that's led by Dean Dickerson. Through that association, law students have the opportunity to meet judges, lawyers, and other students. We have a number of campus programs that are offered by Zoom. Students are also welcome to come in person. I will tell you recently for our Barristers Ball, some of our students decided to come from across the country to the Barristers Ball just because they wanted to interact with their classmates. We have special programming that's offered specifically for online students, as well as students are also able to participate in student organizations and clubs, honors programs like moot court negotiations, law review, and law journal. We have online student town halls once a month and send weekly newsletters, so our students are always in the know. And then students also receive a daily email from Southwestern, which highlights programs and important deadlines. So we are currently accepting applications for the August 2025 entering class. I know a number of you said that you're looking to apply for this year. Our deadline is April 1st. However, that is our priority deadline. We do typically wind up extending it. So it's not that if you apply after April 1st, you don't have an opportunity to apply, but we do encourage you to apply early if possible. We are accepting applications from students who reside in the states in the top 2 categories. For students who reside in states in this third category, unfortunately, we're not accepting applications at this time, just because there are some things that we have to continue to do on our end to apply for authorization with those states. So that doesn't mean that we won't be accepting people from these states in 2026 or 2027. It's just not available currently. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dean Gear. You can feel free to follow up with any questions at Online J.D. at swlaw.edu, though you are certainly welcome to also include your questions in the chat or, to ask your questions towards the end of the program. We will have time for questions today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Span. Okay, so as promised, I just have a few quick slides for you. And make sure that we cover. I know there were some questions in the chat coming up about admissions. So that's going to talk to you about. So for those that are not familiar with our application components, there's a variety of different things here. Of course, you're going to want to dive deeper on our website and get some of the more particular information about each of these things. But we do require the LSAT. I know that came up a few times in the chat. The latest LSAT for consideration for the August program. So our August programs are going to be either the online, either full-time or part-time, as well as our full-time or part-time in-person programs. So the latest LSAT for consideration for those programs is the June LSAT. If any of you happen to be interested in the SCALE program, that's our 2-year accelerated. The latest LSAT for consideration for that program is the April test. We also do require an undergraduate degree. You can be degree in progress while you are applying, but you do have to have completed all of your degree requirements, taken all of your final exams, etc., by the time that your respective program begins. If you are foreign educated, there's a different process that you go through to get your education records evaluated and confirmation of the degree equivalency provided to us. We do require, LSAC for that matter, requires at least one LSAT writing sample. If you are someone who has taken the test more than one time, you are offered the prompt at each LSAT administration, but only one of them is required that you complete it. I will only say about this that just make sure that even though we know it's not going to be a perfect writing sample, considering it's done on timed conditions, we do expect that you put a decent amount of effort into it. Your letters of recommendation, 1 is required, 3 is the maximum. So these letters can really be either academic or professional. We don't have a specific requirement around that. But I will say if you are in any type of academic program currently, then I think the expectation on our part is that at least one of those letters would be academic. You don't want to have, though, just family, friends, or certainly relatives in that equation. Those would not be appropriate. Then additionally, we do require a personal statement. We do require a resume. If you answer yes to any of the character and fitness questions, then you also must supply a statement for those. We have some additional addenda that are optional that you may want to include, things like multiple LSAT score attempts or a history of standardized test taking, perhaps something that you feel like we should know in terms of your grade performance or grade trends, those types of things. Those are optional, but often recommended, as well as optional statements. And I'll touch upon those in just a second more. So as has been mentioned, we do have a variety of different programs, but it's one application. So if you are interested in perhaps either full-time as well as something in person, you can rank them accordingly on your application. If you are only interested in online, then that's the only thing you necessarily need to put on the application. You don't have to rank besides just giving your first choice. But if you want to demonstrate that you are interested in other programs, you can continue to rank those. The application, as I mentioned, is the same throughout the process, but for those applying for the 2-year program, they do have an interview requirement that is school initiated. If you are applying for online, in fact, if you're just applying in general, we're going to ask you some questions about the online program. So as a spoiler, some of the questions that we asked on the poll are those same questions, right? What are your primary reasons and what is your experience? We do also ask a question about where you intend to live. What if you are enrolled in the program? That location may be different than where you currently live, or maybe where your permanent address is. And that is to speak to the slide that Dean Spann showed about the approved states and jurisdictions. So maybe you have a little bit of geographic mobility in you, and you might be able to move to a location that we're approved if perhaps where you're currently living is not. So we do ask a question about that as well. And then for the optional statements, the first one's going to ask you sort of why Southwestern? Why are you interested? I encourage you, if the online program is one of those top reasons, please feel free to include that information there. So optional statement number 1 is why Southwestern? Optional statement number 2 is more so why you, right? What are some other things about yourself that maybe you haven't already covered in the application materials that you would also like us to know? Remember, these are optional. So if you've already incorporated those facets in other parts of your application, you don't necessarily have to be redundant. We, in fact, ask you to not be redundant, but you do have the opportunity just in case you need it. The application cycle opens every fall. So I know we had a small group of you who are looking for 2026 or beyond. So if you're a 2026 or a 27 or even further down the road, every September is when the application cycle opens for enrollment the following fall. So this September, it will open for fall of 2026. We are currently still accepting applications. The application deadline is April 1st. You will see, though, that on April 2nd, the deadline will change to May 1st. So it's just going to kind of keep moving like that through the cycle. I don't recommend you wait necessarily till the deadlines. We are experiencing an application volume increase, just like most law schools in the country are. But if you need to wait, then you have, that information. Juan will take questions at the end. Okay. So financial aid, always an important part to kind of keep track of. Make sure you are submitting your FAFSA. I believe you can submit up to about 20 school codes to the FAFSA to go out to the various schools that you are considering. You might be considering only online programs or online and hybrid, maybe online and in person, right? It might be a different combination, but either way, you want to get your information through studentaid.gov so that those things can start working behind the scenes. I will caution you, though, make sure that when you go to enter that information, it's as accurate as possible, because for the past couple of years, it's been logistically challenging for students to update their FAFSA information. So try to make sure it's as accurate as possible when you go into it. Most schools, I think, would be similar to Southwestern in that you won't receive your financial aid award, which is really the packaging of loans. There's a staff grad loan and a grad plus loan until you've been admitted to the respective law school. Now, you might also receive scholarships, and hopefully you will. And those would be part of your overall financial aid award. Goes under a number we call cost of attendance. That's the total cost, essentially, with tuition, living expenses, et cetera, that you would anticipate needing to pay for law school each year. It's important to also know that tuition for online is the same as tuition is for in-person. So, and because we are a private school, we're not bound by any state residency in terms of tuition. So everybody essentially in a full-time program will pay the same. All part-time students will pay the same. And then our 2-year accelerated programs, they have that scale, they have their own tuition. And scholarships are available kind of across the board. So scholarships are program neutral. Scholarships are also merit-based. So we're using things primarily like LSAT and GPA, undergraduate GPA specifically, to make those kinds of determinations. Okay. And then lastly, again, just to echo, if you have additional questions, you can reach out to the Online J.D. office. You can certainly reach out to the admissions office at admissions@swlaw.edu, or you could give us a call. Or if you'd like to set up an individual counseling appointment, you're welcome to do so. I ask, though, that you come to the appointment having done a little bit of research. You've already kind of figured out a little bit about maybe the class profile or the specific questions that you have, just so we can make the most of your time and ours too.